Hello everybody, have a brand new knife comparison for you today. This right here, we're going to take a look at two Microtech knives, and for somebody who has an interest in California legal auto knives, it's kind of a renaissance currently in the market. There are a lot of new models coming out, a lot of companies are seeing the potential money they can make making these knives, and so as a result there's a lot of options out there. So for somebody who's looking to jump into a Microtech, I have these two right here to compare. So on the left hand side we have the Microtech UTX 70 California, and so this is the standard model. You can see the model number right there if you want to look it up. So they do have several different variants of this knife out, and this one has been out the longest as far as I'm aware, and as of right now it's becoming a little more commonplace, and we're able to see these more often on sale in the market, which is a good thing if this knife size is your thing. But the newer knife out of these two is the knife right here, and this is the Troodon Mini, and so this is with the Tanto blade, and so these ones are relatively new as far as I know, and again very similar form factor, but we can see the Mini Troodon is much bulkier, it's a little bit thicker, and so let's make a quick comparison, and I'll tell you my experiences with these two knives as well, because if you've seen any of my videos, you know I own a lot of auto knives that are California legal, so the sub 2-inch blades. And so let's just take a look at these two today, but I'll tell you my experiences with the UTX 70 and whether or not you think whether or not the Mini Troodon is a better deal. So first off, the UTX 70, I already made a video on it some time ago, but there is some follow-up to that I may not have mentioned to everyone on the channel. Essentially, what happened with this knife right here, after having it for not too long, the action actually broke. So something on the inside of the handle snapped, and I had to send it back to Microtech. So is it the end of the world? No, but when I first got this knife, it was very hard to actuate. You know, the in and out action on the switch, depending on your finger, how you get it at an angle, it could be very hard to open and close. And this is a problem that we do not have on the Mini Troodon. So what we have right here with the UTX 70, I had to send it into Microtech, and they did fix it, and since I got it back, the action is a lot better. Still not perfect. It has a lot more throw to it. I don't know how a good way to say it, but I'll show it to you in a few minutes. But essentially, before I sent this knife in, before it broke, this knife was very hard to actuate with my left hand, because you know that's my weaker hand. My thumb maybe isn't as strong, but I would try and work it, and I could not ever get it back in retracted all the way. And so even working at it and just trying to get that action broken in was a no-go. Maybe this is just a one-off case with my particular knife, but the good news is, of course, Microtech fixed it. They sent it back to me, gave me a free patch as a result, so I have the cool little Microtech patch as well. But that's my experience with the UTX 70. And so that is something I'm already just going to talk about going into the Mini Troodon. This one I did pick up used, so this was not factory new, but it was basically almost new in box. You know, the person who bought it had really not used it or taken it anywhere. But with the action on this knife, it's really a night and day difference. And I think they improved that on this knife in the meanwhile. And so I don't own any full-size Microtech, so if any of you out there do, feel free to chime in and tell me your thoughts. But taking a look at these actions, so I'm going to get really close with the Mini Troodon. Take a look at the action here. How much effort is used to actuate that switch. Really slow. Not much. It's very easy. This is a pleasure to use. By contrast, by comparison, let's take a look at the UTX 70 here. Look at how much throw there is on the switch before the blade comes out. You can see how much I can push it in, and then the blade comes out. That's not something that happens on the Mini Troodon. So it's still a very functional knife. It's still a very small, diminutive knife. No problems with it. It works. But you can see that difference in the action right there. Pushing it forward, boom. Pulling it back, boom. Whereas there's not as much throw on the Mini Troodon. Up, out. It's just boom, in and out. Like if you move that handle at all, it pretty much pushes the blade out. So that's a definite improvement. So that might factor into your purchase decision here. One thing that might factor in as well is, of course, the price. So as of right now, this newer model is actually kind of hard to find. That being said, the UTX 70, I have seen this at retailers recently. They have it in a couple different colors, and it's really just a matter of your Google skills of being able to find one of these in stock. There are a lot of retailers who are Microtech distributors and retailers who sell these online. You're not always going to find them at your big name knife companies, your Blade HQs, your knife centers, your GP knives. They may not always have these in stock because they're big dealers. They have a lot of customers. You might have to do some searching to different corners of the internet to find these in stock. But just recently, I saw one of these UTX 70s with it has like a brownish copper colored handle and the apocalyptic finish, and for not a bad price. It was, I want to say, around $220 or so, which for this knife is a good deal. By contrast, you're going to be spending about $50, $60, $70 more for the equivalent mini Troodon. And so that is just kind of the standard pricing, how it is right now. Supply and demand are out there. It's a real thing. So you may not be able to get this knife for the actual retail price. If you get it on the secondary market, it depends. A lot of sellers are hoping that people are desperate for them, and they're really trying to jack up the prices. So don't fall for that. They are going to come back eventually. I know sometimes it seems like these limited runs are so limited they'll disappear and never happen again. But Microtech wants to make money, and I'm fairly certain these knives are going to come back. If not in quantity, they will return again. So just set alerts at your favorite retailers. Try and find them there. This one, when I first got it, I held on to it because I was certain that they would never make them again. I would never get a chance to see this knife again. And now I could jump on a couple of different retailers that I found online and just order one like any other knife. Should I have waited? Maybe. The only penalty for not waiting is that you generally only get the black handles when they first come out. And if you wait, you're going to get some nice color options. So it'll be nice to see what color options they offer these in as well, especially the mini Troodon. I really like this knife. I think it's very much worth the price they're asking, given the quality levels. But a few things. You may notice on the table, I do not have Microtech's other California Legal Auto, the Exocet. And now that one is a big wide boy, and I think it's kind of meant to be what is it called, to hold your cards, to hold your cash in your pocket on the clip as well. And eventually I would like to get one, but right now it's just not very high on my priority list. So eventually I would love to get one. They have a lot of really good colorations of that knife available, so I'm betting it's a really popular model. But that being said, that's kind of where we stand here. Also coming up, so these knives are relatively expensive. What if we could get a California Legal Auto out the front knife for a budget price? Well, maybe not a budget price, but definitely $125, $130. Hogue just released a micro incursion OTF, and so they have the incursion, the mini incursion, now the micro incursion. That one is on the way, my friends, and we're going to see a comparison of that with these two knives as well pretty soon also. So what I'm going to be interested to see is how the Hogue micro incursion at about less than half of the price, 30-40% of the price, stacks up to these Microtechs. And I'm very excited to get that coming pretty soon, so keep an eye out on the channel if that's of interest to you. So we have the Microtech UTX 70, the Microtech Mini Troodon. Let's take a look at weights real quick before we're done. I do know the UTX 70 is super lightweight, so let's take a close look. 1.19 ounces, okay. And right here, we are a little heavier at 2.2 ounces. Okay, so neither one's a heavyweight, but of course, given the size difference, you can see that the UTX 70 is going to weigh less. So take a look at the thickness right there. Overall length, surprisingly, the UTX 70 is a little bit longer, just a smidge. But that width is what counts. So bigger pocket clip. Take a closer look there. We can see both knives have the little glass breaker on the end. And just everything on the UTX 70 is just much smaller. Take a look at those switches. Again, comparable, but different. Take a look at those blades. The UTX 70 has a CTS 204P blade. Get a closer look at it there. Nice drop point blade. Again, look good to look at, but small. I do like the Tanto on the Troodon Mini. M390 blade, and I know both of these knives, I think they both make them in M390 as well. Different variants. It just depends on what you can find. And I think right now, if you're interested in these knives, generally you're going to pick them up regardless of what the blade steel is, because it's all about just finding one in stock and available somewhere. So these knives continue to be elusive, but don't lose hope. There are a lot of dealers out there that do stock them. Just Google for it. Look for places you may not be too familiar with. Again, don't go throwing your money at dealers that look like very shady sites, but there are a lot of reputable places out there, smaller places that sell knives and are reputable on the internet. So just do your research, because when you're making a purchase like this, you want to make a wise decision. So I just wanted to kind of show a quick comparison, although it's not so quick anymore, of these two knives. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to see a comparison with one of these knives with one of my other California Legal Autos, feel free to let me know in the comments. Hopefully soon I will get that Hogue micro incursion and we can see the difference there. But if there are any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Happy to read those from you guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.